There's something nobody tells you when you're young. The most important lessons in life don't come from books, degrees, or career achievements. They come quietly, often too late, after decades of living, struggling, and watching the world change around you. I'm 73 years old now, and if I could sit down with my 30-year-old self, there are 5 truths I'd share that would have saved me from years of unnecessary worry, regret, and wasted energy. Today I want to share these lessons with you, not because I have all the answers, but because I've made enough mistakes to know what truly matters. Whether you're 25 or 65, these insights might just change how you see your life from this day forward. So, grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's talk about what really counts. Before we begin, I'd love to know where you're watching from and what brought you here today. Leave a comment below. I read every single one, and your stories often inspire the videos I create next. And if this resonates with you, consider subscribing. It tells me you're ready to embrace life's deeper wisdom. Lesson 5. The people who matter will stay. Let the rest go. When I was younger, I spent countless nights worrying about what people thought of me. Friends who drifted away, family members who didn't approve of my choices, colleagues who seemed to judge every decision I made. I exhausted myself trying to please everyone, to be liked, to fit into boxes that were never made for me. Looking back now, I realize how much energy I wasted on people who were never meant to stay in my story. Here's what 7 decades taught me. The people who truly matter, the ones who see you, value you, and love you for who you are, they don't need convincing. They stay without you begging them to. They show up in the quiet moments, not just the celebrations. They forgive your mistakes, celebrate your growth, and accept your imperfections without keeping score. Everyone else, let them go. Not with bitterness or anger, but with peace. Some people are meant to be in your life for a season, not a lifetime. Some are there to teach you what you don't want, who you're not, or what boundaries you need to set. And that's okay. Release the weight of trying to hold on to relationships that have run their course. It's not failure, it's wisdom. I remember a friendship I clung to for nearly 20 years. We'd been close since college, but somewhere along the way, the connection faded. Every conversation felt forced. Every meeting left me drained rather than fulfilled. But I kept trying, kept calling, kept pretending everything was fine, because I feared losing someone who'd been part of my life for so long. Finally, in my late 50s, I'd let go. And you know what happened? Nothing terrible. The world didn't end. Instead, I made room for new friendships, deeper connections with people who actually wanted to be there. Your time and energy are the most valuable gifts you have. Stop giving them to people who don't treasure them. Surround yourself with those who lift you up, who challenge you to grow, who laugh with you in the good times and hold your hand in the bad. Life is too short to spend it chasing people who are already walking away. Lesson 4. You don't need permission to start over. One of the cruelest lies society tells us is that there's a timeline for life. Graduate by 22, married by 30, successful career by 40, retire by 65, and if you deviate from that script, you've somehow failed. But let me tell you something I wish someone had told me 40 years ago. There is no expiration date on reinvention. You are never too old, too late, or too far behind to start again. I've watched friends stay in jobs they hated for decades because they felt trapped. I've seen people remain in unfulfilling marriages because they thought it was too late to choose happiness. I've known talented individuals who buried their dreams under layers of should-haves and what-ifs because they believed their time had passed. And I've done it myself. For years, I wanted to write. Stories filled my head. Characters whispered to me in quiet moments, But I never put pen to paper. Why? Because I was 55, and who starts a writing career at 55? Then one day, I attended the funeral of a man I'd known from church. He was 68, kind, gentle, full of life, and suddenly, he was gone. As I sat in that pew, surrounded by flowers and grief, a thought struck me like lightning. This could be me. I could leave this world with my stories still trapped inside, my dreams still waiting in the wings, my somedays never becoming todays. 3 weeks later, I started writing. My first novel took 4 years to complete, and I published it at 59. It wasn't a bestseller. It didn't make me famous or wealthy. But holding that book in my hands, seeing my name on the cover, knowing I'd brought something into the world that hadn't existed before, that was worth more than any amount of money or recognition. So hear me clearly. Whether you're 30, 50, or 70, it's not too late. Want to change careers? Do it. Want to go back to school? Enroll. Want to leave a relationship that's draining your soul? Walk away. Want to pursue that passion you've ignored for years? Start today. You don't need anyone's permission to rewrite your story. The only approval that matters is your own. Life will always give you reasons to wait. The timing will never be perfect. The circumstances will never align just right. But waiting for perfect conditions is just another way of giving up. Start messy. Start scared. Start small. Just start. Lesson 3. Your body will humble you. Treat it with respect. In my 20s and 30s, I treated my body like an unbreakable machine. I worked long hours, survived on coffee and fast food, skipped sleep like it didn't matter, and ignored every ache and pain that tried to warn me to slow down. I thought I was invincible. I thought I had time to worry about health later, when I was older, when life was less busy. Then my 50s arrived, and my body sent me a bill I couldn't ignore. High blood pressure, diabetes, chronic back pain from decades of poor posture and neglect. Suddenly, I was spending more time in doctors' offices than I ever imagined, taking medications I'd once thought were just for old people, and realizing with painful clarity that every choice I'd made in my younger years was now catching up to me. Here's the hard truth nobody wants to hear. Your body keeps score. Every late night, every skipped meal, every cigarette, every year of stress you pushed through without rest, it all gets recorded. And one day, usually when you least expect it, the bill comes due. By then, some damage can be reversed, but some cannot. Some choices, once made, cannot be unmade. But here's the good news. It's never too late to start treating your body with the respect it deserves. Even at 73, I've learned to move my body daily, even if it's just a 20-minute walk around the neighborhood. I've learned to eat foods that nourish rather than just satisfy cravings. I've learned to listen when my body says it needs rest, water, or care. And while I can't undo the damage of my earlier years, I can stop adding to it. Your body is the only home you'll ever truly own. You can't trade it in for a newer model. You can't upgrade when it starts showing wear. This is it. The body you have right now is the one that will carry you through every moment of your life, every dream you chase, every person you love. Treat it like the miracle it is. Drink more water. Move more, even if it's just a 20-minute walk around the neighborhood. Sleep like your life depends on it, because it does. Say no to things that drain you. Say yes to rest, to joy, to foods that make you feel alive rather than sluggish. And please, please, don't wait until something breaks to start caring. Prevention is so much easier than repair. Lesson 2.
Time is your most valuable currency. Spend it wisely. Money can be earned, saved, and regrown. Opportunities can return in new forms. But time? Time is the one resource that once spent can never be reclaimed. Every minute that passes is gone forever, transformed into memory or regret, into meaning or emptiness, depending on how we chose to use it. When I look back at my life, my biggest regrets aren't about the risks I took or the mistakes I made. They're about the time I wasted. Hours spent in front of the television watching shows I barely remember. Years spent in a career that paid well but left me feeling hollow. Weekends lost to busyness that looked productive but accomplished nothing that mattered. Time I could have spent with my children when they were young, with my parents before they passed, with friends I'll never see again. There's a moment that haunts me still. My daughter was 7 and she asked me to play a board game with her. I was tired from work, stressed about deadlines, and I said, "Not now, sweetie, maybe tomorrow." Tomorrow came, and I said it again, and again, until one day she stopped asking. Now she's 45 with children of her own, and I would give anything to go back to that moment and say yes. Just once, I wish I'd said yes.
Here's what I want you to understand. The things you think you'll have time for later, you might not. The people you assume will always be there, they won't. The conversations you keep postponing, the trips you keep delaying, the I love yous you keep forgetting to say, they all have an expiration date you can't see until it's passed. So spend your time like the treasure it is. Say yes to the things that fill your soul. Say no to the obligations that drain you without purpose. Call that friend you've been meaning to reach out to. Take that trip you've been dreaming about. Have the difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Tell the people you love that you love them today, not tomorrow. Work will always be there. Email will always need answering. The house will always need cleaning. But your parents won't always be around to call. Your children won't always be young enough to want your time. Your health won't always allow you the freedom you have today. Time doesn't wait for perfect moments. It just keeps moving with or without you. Make your time count, not in terms of productivity or achievement, but in terms of meaning, connection, and joy. At the end of your life, you won't wish you'd worked more hours or cleaned a tidier house. You'll wish you'd loved more deeply, laughed more freely, and spent your precious days on the things and people who truly mattered. Lesson 1. Perfection is a prison. Embrace your beautiful mess. This is the lesson that took me longest to learn, and the one I wish I'd understood from the very beginning. For most of my life, I chased perfection. The perfect home, the perfect career, the perfect family, the perfect version of myself. I believed that if I could just get everything right, if I could just fix all my flaws and eliminate all my mistakes, then I'd finally be happy, finally be worthy, finally be enough. But perfection is a mirage. The closer you get, the further it moves. It's an impossible standard that leaves you perpetually disappointed, perpetually striving, perpetually feeling like you're failing. And here's the cruel irony I've learned to accept. The quest for perfection doesn't make you better, it makes you smaller, more afraid, less willing to try new things or take risks or show the world who you really are. I spent years hiding my imperfections, terrified someone might discover I wasn't as put together as I appeared. I didn't share my struggles because I thought they made me weak. I didn't pursue dreams that excited me because I feared I wouldn't excel at them immediately. I didn't let people see the real me, messy and flawed and uncertain, because I thought they'd reject me if they knew the truth. Then something shifted. Maybe it was age, maybe it was exhaustion from pretending. But somewhere in my mid-60s,
I stopped caring so much about being perfect and started caring more about being real. I started sharing my failures along with my successes. I started trying things I wasn't good at just because they brought me joy. I started letting people see me cry, struggle, doubt, and stumble. And you know what happened? People loved me more, not less. My relationships deepened because I was finally being honest. My life became richer because I was no longer limiting myself to only the things I could do perfectly. I became happier not because I'd finally achieved perfection, but because I'd finally stopped trying to. Your flaws, your quirks, your mistakes, your messy, imperfect journey, that's not something to hide or fix or apologize for. That's your humanity. That's what makes you relatable, lovable, real. The people who truly care about you don't want a perfect version of you. They want the authentic you, struggles and all. So stop waiting to be perfect before you start living fully. Stop hiding your mess behind a facade of having it all together. Stop comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. Your life doesn't need to look like anyone else's. It just needs to feel true to who you are. Embrace the beautiful mess of being human. Laugh at your mistakes instead of hiding them. Share your struggles so others feel less alone in theirs. Try things you might fail at. Love people even though you and they are imperfect. Show up as you are, not as you think you should be. Because at the end of the day, perfection is exhausting, but authenticity is freedom. Closing thoughts. So there they are. 5 lessons that took me 70+ years to learn, offered to you in the hope that they might save you some of the heartache, regret, and wasted time I experienced along the way. Let the people who don't value you go. Start over whenever you need to. Treat your body with respect. Spend your time on what truly matters. And embrace your beautiful, messy, imperfect humanity. Life is shorter than you think and longer than you fear. It's filled with more joy than you can imagine and more pain than you'd choose. But it's yours. This one precious life is yours to shape, to cherish, to live fully from this moment forward. I'd love to hear from you. What's the most important lesson life has taught you so far? What wisdom would you share with your younger self? Drop a comment below. Let's learn from each other. And if this video spoke to you, please share it with someone who might need to hear these words today. Sometimes the simplest truths are the ones we most need to remember. Thank you for spending this time with me. Until next time, live fully, love deeply, and remember, you're doing better than you think you are.